What's going on, ambitious vet? Thanks for diving into the trenches with us again this week as we seek to provide you with the golden grenades to get you out of your own way and also fuel your desire to make an impact post-military. This is your podcast built by veterans for veterans as we dive into the trenches with today's top subject matter experts, share inspiring transition stories, and provide masterclasses to equip you to reach your full potential. Bottom line is, this is your place to go after immediate transitional education expires. Do you want to dive deeper into the trenches with other like-minded veterans looking to improve in the trenches of everyday life? If so, check out our free Facebook group, the Ambitious Vet Network, which has been around since 2017. It was actually one of three ever veteran support groups on Facebook. Now Facebook groups are obviously a dime a dozen. But more importantly, Ambitious Vet, there you're going to be able to connect, learn from, and grow with other veterans that are aspiring to make a big impact post-military. I'll have the link in the actual show notes below, but also just go to the search engine on Facebook, type in the Ambitious Vet Network. It's a private, exclusive group where it's not open to the public, so you definitely have to type it in to find it. And we really value that. We want to push forward our value of providing a safe environment for vulnerable, growth-minded veterans to come together to share what's in their way so they can actually reach their goals. You're also going to get updates for the upcoming community learning platform that we're going to provide you, here in the next couple months. We're working out the kinks, getting the final development features onboarded, but you're going to have an experience like live masterclasses, private forum, courses, and so much more inside this platform. So if you want to stay updated with that, definitely get plugged into the free Facebook group and also deeper connected inside the trenches with other veterans that are listening to this show that want to grow right beside you and they have your six.
It's time to get into the trenches, dig into your purpose, and fire up your life's fulfillment. The Ambitious Vet Podcast starts now.
What's going on, Ambitious Vet? We are right back inside the trenches this week with Evan Seale. Evan is hailing from good old Sugar Land, Texas. He's a graduate of the United States Military Academy at West Point, and he actually earned his MBA at Wharton School of Business. His military service includes multiple deployments to Afghanistan, serving with both the 3rd ID and 75th Ranger Regiment. After exiting the military, he spent 3 years working for a middle market private equity firm focused on sourcing and evaluating investments. Evan is now the co-founder of VRB Labs, a mental health supplement brand helping veterans and high performers manage pain, stress, and sleep with clean, natural ingredients. Ambitious Vet, we're excited to have Evan. Evan, welcome to the Ambitious Vet Show, brother.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it, man. I'm fired up to be on, and I appreciate the intro.
Yeah, man, it's insane. I've been seeing you guys pop up everywhere inside of like different orbs and ecosystems like Capital Factory. And one of our advisors gave us a personal introduction. And I was just like, wow, man, we have got to know this team and this company. And yeah, man, it's crazy how the stars align at the right time, man.
Yeah, definitely. No, man, we're excited and grateful to be, have the opportunity to jump on the podcast with you and, share our story and hopefully be helpful to other folks out there, other veterans, or just, other entrepreneurs, looking to do things and do big things.
Yeah, man, I love it. And speaking of big things, man, I mean, you did a big thing and you got out as a special forces guy, man, and share more about that process of you getting out and just the aspirations that you kind of had or may have not known you had when you got out, and what led you to that first initial job in St. Louis.
Sure. Happy to, man. So, honestly, to take it from the very bottom, just the transition in general. And this is something that, looking back, I didn't realize at the time, but transition is tough. And like you hear that, and, there's transition programs, and, you're forced to go through, transition programs, and you kind of take it, at least I did, and I'm sure a lot of other people do, take it kind of for granted, and, think it's this kind of hokey thing, like, oh, I'm going to be fine. Like, I'm not that veteran who's going to, get out and, have a difficult time. Like, I'm so excited to get out. This is going to be great. I'm free again. And so you kind of think that you're not one of those folks. And I was certainly in that camp thinking, just waiting for my ETS date, ready to get out and kind of be back into the civilian world. It's going to be amazing. But, it was very much not the case. Transition, no matter who you are and what you did in the military or how you served, like, I think that everyone is prone to having a transition issue. And I think it's because, you're just a part of this organization that is just dynamically different than the civilian world. Like, you're really a part of an organization that's, focused on a mission that's so much larger than who you are as an individual, and so much larger than what other organizations do in their daily life in the civilian sector. So when you get out, like, it really kind of hits you like a bag of bricks. And I wasn't prepared for it. Like, I was super naive, thinking like, man, here we go. Like, civilian world, let's get after it. And then I got out, and I was kind of on my own, and I didn't have a job lined up. And it's not because like that was kind of a personal decision. I wanted to get out. I wanted to travel for about a year. That was the plan. So just to kind of decompress, I had done a deployment and gotten back, and I ETS probably, I think it was like 2 or 3 months after that, I started terminal leave. So kind of thrown right back into the civilian world, and I didn't have a plan. So it was like, all right, Evan, like, I put all my stuff in storage. I sold my car. I rented a Jeep, and I just started traveling the West Coast. I linked up with a couple of buddies, and we were stopping at all the national parks on the West Coast, basically from, we drove from Houston all the way up through Austin, over to Colorado, through Montana, up into Canada, out west, and then all the way to the coast, and then down through California. And like, we were just stopping at all these national parks, camping, and then hitting, the cities that we're close to for the weekends, and just kind of like trying to do some soul searching and figuring out, what I wanted to do in the world. And through that process, I was also talking to, recruiters, the veteran specific recruiters like Bradley Morris, Cameron Brooks, I think is the name, and a few of these other ones that, really focus on helping place veterans into civilian jobs. And it was more just, I wanted to keep tabs on what was out there and what the options were. I had no clue what I wanted to do. I didn't know what industry, what role, what I was good at, et cetera. And I think that's another problem that a lot of veterans face, is just, they don't know where they fit in. And I didn't. And so I was just kind of keeping tabs on all the opportunities. And eventually one came across that seemed really cool. It was a private equity firm in St. Louis. I had no idea what private equity even was at the time. I had to like look up and talk to a bunch of people to figure out what it was. But I knew, one of the things that intrigued me was that there was a pretty solid cohort of veterans at the firm. It was a West Pointer who was kind of leading the search. He was trying to hire someone onto his team specifically. He was also a Ranger Battalion guy. And then there was also another West Pointer and another 2 veterans, another one of them, another Ranger Battalion guy as well.
Yeah,
so
natural trust, cohesion, stuff like that. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And that's right. So, and that really drew me to the firm. And then, long story short, I ended up getting the job, fortunately. And it was an amazing opportunity. Like, it was a fantastic team, really kind of changed my life in a lot of ways, but it was just, kind of serendipitous on how it all came to fruition. But, in terms of the transition, like, no plan, didn't know what I wanted to do, didn't know what I was good at, and just kind of gave myself an opportunity to just kind of survey the field and see what I wanted to do before diving in.
No, I love that. Surveying the field, ambitious vet. Evan brings up a really good point here, right? Ambitious vet. I mean, sometimes you just have to give yourself time to reflect, right? Sometimes reflecting is just such a powerful thing, right? There's being able to sit back. I think some mentors I've even come across during my rough transition over the past 10 years is like, they always say, hey, some of them have gotten really woo-woo, man, and they're saying, hey, go get a blank piece of paper, go to the woods and camp out for a week and tell you, figure out what your intuition tells you. And if that's your bag, babe, like go after it. Right. But I mean, also like, just like Evan, going with a buddy, going and traveling national parks, man. I mean, I think that's anybody's dream. Just go see America, the very, the motherland that you fought and protected for, just going and exploring it, right, to figure out what you protected and just seeing what comes up. And I love how you also, man, just set up lines of communication, creating leverage through like the Lucas groups, the Bradley Morrisons and stuff like that can just get out there in the trenches for you while you just kind of reflect and be like, man, who the fuck am I now? Which is a tough question to answer when you first get out, isn't it?
It is. And I think you're spot on, man. I mean, I think the big thing is you have to do the soul searching, and like, there's no way to cut corners. And I think the people who find themselves in a tough spot are the individuals who just kind of shoot from the hip real fast and get out and jump into a role. And there's nothing wrong with doing that, but like, I just think you're going to have a higher probability of finding yourself in a position that you're just kind of not happy, and maybe you don't like the role you're doing, you don't like the industry, you don't even like the geography of where the job is located. And so you just really got to do some soul searching and figure out what you want to do, what you love, what's important to you. Is geography important? Like, do you want to be in a certain city? Do you want to have access to running trails and the outdoor life? Do you like the city life? How do you want your house to look like? Do you want an apartment or do you want a house with a backyard? Like, these are all kind of like fundamental, like, lifestyle questions you got to ask yourself. And all of that will dictate where you should go and what type of industry you should be in and what type of role you should pick, because all those things kind of, lead into that. And so until you do the soul searching and figure out exactly what you want, stay, just kind of keep your options open and don't commit, because the other thing too is I think veterans in general can be successful in damn near any role, if they really try hard and push to make it happen. So, you have a lot of optionality. It's just a question of, do you want to put in the work to get there? And do you want to take the time to develop a plan to get there?
Yeah. Taking the time, slowing down and mapping out that plan isn't always the most sexiest thing to do. You got to be patient, right? Yeah. So one thing that, we had a great conversation, ambitious vet, and we both kind of were just laughing around St. Louis, because I was born and raised in St. Louis and joined the United States Marine Corps from St. Louis, actually a small town, suburb town, St. Charles. And we were just laughing around the Mississippi River, and probably the smell of the Mississippi River had him want to move on to other things. But I'll let him answer this question, right? St. Louis, amazing town. St. Louis Cardinals still, I'm still bleeding St. Louis Cardinals stuff, man. Still am. But yeah, one thing that we spoke about in the pre-interview, man, was just like how 2.5 years in, man, you were doing some awesome biz dev stuff, building some amazing relationships, developing some great skills, man, that would pay off later on in life, which I think a lot of ambitious vets forget too, man. Sometimes these roles are building up your human capital for what's next. And it was kind of a boiling point for you where you start realizing you just weren't fired up, man. And I just think a lot of vets, man, get to a point in life where they're in something and they're just not fired up anymore. Tell us more about that experience for you, man. And then also just how you start executing on finding what you were fired up about next.
Yeah, sure. So, I'll just talk about a little bit about the role and like where I was. So, this was about a year after I got out. It was like 6 months after I got out. So I traveled. I cut my year travel short because I got the job and moved to St. Louis. And I knew zero people in St. Louis. It was the first time I'd ever gone to a city. Because in the military, when you get stationed in new places, I didn't move a ton in the military, but generally, like I'll either have like a West Point connection or somebody I know who's at the unit. So you have some sort of like, friendship, foundation. But St. Louis was the first time I didn't have that. So I was really like, away from, I wasn't living in my hometown where I grew up. I didn't have any friends, family, and then I didn't have any like friends located in St. Louis. So I was like, Evan was alone and afraid at a new job. So it was kind of liberating, and it was kind of scary at the same time because I was just
Yeah.
dealing with the whole transition and like who I wanted to be and what my purpose was. But so there's like that going on. And then, the firm I worked with was, amazing. I can't say enough good things about the company, but, and the people there too. But the role was also incredibly transformative to me on like where I am today. Like, I don't think that, I truly don't think that I would have gotten into the business school I did and like kind of maybe even landed where I am now without having gone there. So I owe a ton of gratitude to those folks and being with them. But personally, I was in this role where it's kind of, basically business development, right? So I was going around trying to find companies to buy for the firm. So, the private equity, you go buy a company, you grow it, and then you sell it. And so my role was to go find businesses for sale that were, interesting to the firm and met certain criteria and aligned with what they were looking at from an investment standpoint. And so it was incredibly like insightful. I got to learn a ton, a bunch of different industries, talk to founders, but at the end of the day, like it was kind of just like one role, right? Like my only role was business development. It was calls, emails, visits. Like those were the metrics I was, kind of geared up to hit. And that was the lane I was running in. And it was really great. Like for the first 2 years, I really loved it. I got to learn a ton, like I said, and I got experience to private equity and finance, all these amazing things that have set me up now. But as I looked at like my 10-year, 20 years, like where do I see myself in that role? And I was like, man, I don't see myself as like, even leading a business development team in 10 years from now. Like if this is my lane and it's calls, emails, visits with investment bankers, business brokers, and founders, like it just seemed like that was just too narrow for me, and it would get way too repetitive and kind of mundane. I like to constantly be building new things and kind of, being creative and just doing things that are not always in the same kind of lane, I guess. And so I saw that. I kind of saw it writing on the wall, and
like you were money motivated. You're probably making some really good money in that industry. You make a lot of money in private equity, building those relationships, but there was just some element of what you value missing. It sounds
exactly.
like.
Yeah. It was a personal thing. It was just,
yeah,
I wasn't fulfilled personally on, and I think ultimately, I don't think I was challenged enough. It wasn't, I wasn't like having to really think outside the box to get investments into the firm. It was more of like, just call these people, find these listings and present them to the firm. And like, okay, like once I got over the learning curve of like what they're looking for and like how to do that and like who are the people that provide investments, all that stuff, like then you're like, okay, like I think I like got it. Like I got it. So like now I just do this and for the end of the time. And it's I just felt like I needed something else. I wanted to build something.
Yeah. You probably mastered that super quickly. Like those metrics is knowing a special forces guy. Like we've interviewed some special forces guys in the past, and knowing you kind of guys, man, you team guys or just your Army special forces guys as well. You guys just pick up on things pretty quickly. So it's just like it probably got to a point where it was just kind of really repetitive. It was predictable, and it just probably got super boring. You probably didn't have that adrenaline rush that a lot of us we thrive to kind of tune into, right?
Yeah. I think that there's that's a right in a lot of ways. At the same time, like that's one component of it. I mean, the other thing too is like, I could have probably learned. I 100% could have gone and like started learning other aspects of the private equity through some of the other professionals and like have challenged myself, like kind of outside of my role. Like if I really like, it wasn't, if it was up to me, I could have challenged myself more. It wouldn't have been like within the scope of work for my role, but like, that was on me. I could have done that and sought it out, but like, it just didn't, that wasn't just stuff that just wasn't super interesting to me, so it was like, again, it was like this fulfillment thing where it's like, I don't know if I really love all this. Like this is, the office and the suits and like, going to meet investment bankers and flying around the country and doing all that stuff was just not something that I could see myself loving forever. And it was like, well, man, if I'm not building my career path for that, then like, it might be time to pivot. And it was just a good opportunity to make that pivot. I'd also had the opportunity to talk with a bunch of, founders of businesses. So you see these guys who have built companies over 10, 15, 20 years, and, it's their baby and they love this thing. They poured all their time and energy into building this amazing company that now they're getting to sell to a private equity firm. And it's like this very successful exit. And like, you can just tell how proud and excited they are. I was like, man, that's super cool. These guys really did it. Like, these guys went out there and started something on their own, built this company, and like they are the dude. Like, that's, they didn't grow up through something else. Like, they created this themselves. And even the private equity firm that I was working for, like the guy who started the firm did the same thing. And like, that was cool. It was like, man, this guy built this firm and like from the ground up. And like, like that's something like I really envied and wanted a part of. I wanted that fulfillment to know like I could build something like that. And so that's kind of, all those things kind of converging. We're like, man, go be an entrepreneur and build something.
Yeah, no, you got curious with your role, and like, it just follow your curiosity, ambitious vet. Maybe it's the devil isn't in the details. Sometimes maybe your blessings in the details, right? In this case, and just, find that sparks you and follow that path. Now, obviously after that, you chose to walk away and you went to one of the most prestigious business schools in the nation, Wharton Business School, which is amazing, man. We had the honor of pitching them as we were raising around last year, and just their angel network. And it's just, that place is an amazing place to go learn the basic principles of business. So walk us through that decision of going there, and then kind of what led you into the industry of CBD, man, which is one of the hardest industries to get into because of just the regulations and just everything. Walk us through that path, brother.
Yeah, for sure. So from the beginning, like looking at the different business schools, I think most people, probably do this, but my thought was like, okay, what are the best business schools that you can get into? Like, what shoot for the moon and go for it. So I, looked at all the top business schools and, basically figured out which ones I thought were a match for me and that ones that I would be excited for. And again, this was, a lot went into that, what industry do I want to end up in? What city do I want to go to business school in and enjoy? What is the cost? Like, there's all these things that all these variables that go into the decision making. And when you stack all those up, it's like, okay, hey, cool, here's the 5 business schools you want to apply to, and then looking at what those schools require in order to get in to even be competitive. And it's just, this is something that it's just consistent hard work towards the goal, right? So if you want to go into the top business school, like, you can do that. Like 90% of people can do that if you're willing to put in the work to get there. Like, can you show, can you build a resume that shows that you're competitive? Can you get a good enough GMAT score, et cetera? Like, there's all these things you can look up online that these schools look for to make yourself competitive. So, I just started building my packet to try to get in, and I was fortunate enough to get into Wharton, and so it was incredible. It was one of the coolest moments of my life being able to get in there. Mm-hmm. So, it was great. And when I went to Wharton, I knew like I was going to focus on the entrepreneurship path. I wanted to build a business, like I said, and so I took the entrepreneurship track and tried to immerse myself in all the classes and all the courses and all the mentors there that kind of aligned with entrepreneurship. And from there, man, that's where I met my co-founder Chase. He was a very of a very similar mindset as I was. He wanted to build a business. He unfortunately is from the Naval Academy though, so we had that kind of rivalry off the bat. But
that's good for y'all though. That's good.
Yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, we're only enemies one day out of the year.
Yeah.
But no, so we met and we kind of bonded over a shared passion for not only building businesses and trying to be an entrepreneur, but like also, both athletes. He played college. He went to the Naval Academy and played football and rugby there. I played soccer at West Point. So the athlete, college athlete thing going, and then just we really cared about wellness, right? Like taking care of ourselves, fitness, health, how can we optimize performance across physical, mental, spiritual realms, et cetera. So like, there's just a ton of really awesome overlap. And from there, man, we just started hitting it off and trying to figure out, a business to build within that space, something around our lifestyle that we really enjoyed and we're passionate about.
Yeah, I know, it's awesome. I'm looking at the website right now too, Ambitious Vet, and you can go and check it out too at www.vrblabs.com. And it's all about living optimally, like clinically backed solutions for sleep, stress, and pain. And I just got to tell you, man, about a year ago, I started taking some good CBD products, and it just does good for your overall wellness, man. Just your anxiety, just this. I think a guy at a networking event earlier today described it very well. We get out of the military, man, and we have souvenirs that we carry.
Yeah.
And it helps with the souvenirs that we carry, man. So like, walk us through kind of like your guys' differentiator, man, because it sounds like you guys do a really good job as far as just the ingredients. I love how you guys are building swag around it. Some of the professionals at some of the largest companies in the United States are actual customers of this thing. So you guys got some really awesome traction. But walk us through kind of like the founding story, which you started, but also what your guys' differentiator is and where you guys are going.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'd be happy to. So, for us, so verbs, VRB stands for verb. So the part of speech. So to be in action, right? So to run, to lift, to love, to be. And our thought is like, we want to keep people in action, doing what they love, feeling good. So, at a foundational level, if you are well rested, stress free, and pain free, then you have all the capacity in the world to go out and do and be what you want. But if you can't get those right, then you're already starting behind on the race, or you're starting at a suboptimal level, right? So what we're trying to do is provide not only like supplements and solutions for that, but we also provide a ton of like content and just education, tactics, tools for people to optimize across pain, stress, and sleep, just so that you can hammer those out and get them taken care of and get your quality of life back, so you can focus on being present and, like I said, doing what you love and being around the people you love. And so what we do differently is, yes, we build CBD products, but our formulas are more than just CBD, right? So like CBD is helpful. It's a great compound. It's got a ton of clinical data to support it. There's tons of testimonial data to support it. I'm obviously a huge believer in it. It changed my life, which is why I got into it. But at the same time, we don't see it as the end all be all, right? Like there's other very powerful ingredients that can also help for pain, stress, and sleep. So when we think about those problems, we think about trying to solve them in the best way possible. So when you think about, so right now we have 3 products. We have a daytime formula for anxiety, we have a nighttime formula for sleep, and we have a roll-on topical for pain and inflammation. And so those are the 3 areas we're trying to solve. So what we do is we build the best formulas for those specific use cases. So we teamed up with a team of scientists out in California, and basically went to them with a hypothesis and said, hey, look, we tried CBD. It was really great for us. However, we thought there were some things missing. And we actually think that there are some other ingredients we can add to this to make it even more effective. What do you think about this? Can we iterate on some formulas to come up with something that really works and really, delivers effects for, customers? So, over about 6 months, we started formulating ingredients for those 3 products, and eventually ended up on what we have. So like our daytime formula, yes, has CBD, but it also has a bunch of nootropics for, to stimulate brain function and improve focus. So not only are you reducing anxiety during the day, but you also have these nootropics that are allowing you to function at a higher level, which is just money in the bank, right? Like, yes, you want to solve anxiety, but like you get these other added ingredients that just improve your performance overall. So, and the same thing with our nighttime formula. Yes, it has CBD, which is great for sleep, but it also has valerian root, passion flower, chamomile, lavender, these other really powerful natural ingredients that also help deliver targeted results. So like when you take our formula, you're getting more than just CBD. You're getting a really, really effective holistic natural formula to really just get the best effects with one dose.
Very nice. It's crazy that you guys went and persuaded some scientists in California with really no prototype, man. And I'm curious of just, was it the military academy or the naval grad who persuaded the scientists in California?
It was actually the Naval Academy guy. It was actually strangely enough, it was a Wharton friend's family who owns the research facility, and so like they had been formulating CBD based formulas for like the last 5 years, even before this big wave, and they were co-located in a medical facility with like a pain management clinic, a neurological disorder clinic, and so they were getting a bunch of patient referrals from those places for patients looking for natural alternatives to things like opioids and just harsh prescriptions. And so they had been formulating CBD based formulas for those types of patients. And so we partnered with them to build ours.
Wow. Timing was right, man. You found them at the right time.
Yeah.
Thank God for a good co-founder too, man. So that's an amazing story, right? Ambitious Vet. And one thing I want you to see as far as a thread throughout this whole conversation is how Evan didn't allow, his circumstances stop him. I think we said in the previous conversation, I mean, what I envied about this man from afar was just his ability to just be confident in his abilities. Took big leaps of faith, was probably making tons of money inside the private equity firm in St. Louis, and he still took a leap because he wasn't satisfied. And I would just ask you, Ambitious Vet, where are you just settling in life and don't have enough confidence to just take the leap, right? Ask yourself that question, because here's a man that has continued to execute probably with some fear, but executed with the fear and the self-doubt alongside. Now has built one of the most, popular, in my opinion, CBD brands out there, and more than just CBD brands out there. I've been just seeing it promoted in my network and ecosystem as a CBD brand. But when I went back and heard their story, I was like, we've got to have Evan on the show because, this is just an amazing story. It's very well needed, and we all want to reach our full potential physically, mentally, biologically, man. You know what I mean? We need to find holistic approaches versus just pill popping animals, right? That, the big 3-letter word, entities love to throw at us, right?
Yeah.
Anything you would add, Evan?
No, man, I just think, for the folks out there, I think, I think you should bet on yourself. I mean, if you're not going to bet on yourself, then then I don't know what you're doing. I mean, if you don't believe in yourself enough to take the risk, take that step out there, you can come up with a million excuses, and it is scary. Like, I mean, I'm scared every single day. And I think I live in this area of constant stress, but I'm comfortable in it. And that's what actually I enjoy, which is why I constantly put myself into these challenging situations. I think that if you can find a way to just believe in yourself and bet on yourself, then you too will be able to really unlock whatever you want to do. I mean, it just takes betting on yourself and then just consistent hard work, long, consistent spurts of hard work, and then you can get to wherever you want to be. But there's really no shortcut to it. It's just, you just got to go do it and stay with it for a long period of time, and nothing happens overnight. And so, just believe in yourself.
There it is. Boom. I was going to ask for the one last golden grenade, but you nailed it out of the park right there, Evan. So we'll kind of finish up with a call to action. Where can an Ambitious Vet go to start testing out some of these products, man, that you've been breaking down for us throughout the show?
Sure. Yeah. Just go to our website, man. It's www.vrblabs.com. Victor Romeo Bravo labs.com. Check it out. And and if anybody has any questions or wants to chat with me about anything we talked about here today, you can email me at evan@vrblabs.com. Happy to chat with anybody.
Boom. Ambitious Vet, go and do that. Evan and his co-founder are taking this thing to the moon. But more importantly, Ambitious Vet, go and take care of yourself. Figure out different ways that can help you, optimize your performance in every area of life. And I have found for myself, these kind of products have helped me naturally deal with some of this stuff that we deal with as we have big ambitions in life. We want to make sure that we're having stuff to help ground us and make sure we're fully equipped to go out there and just thrive biologically, physically, mentally, all that. So I think for their first purchase, they get some kind of a discount too, right, Evan?
Yeah, absolutely. And VRB TEAM 15, that should give you 15% off anything on the store, your total order.
Perfect. Awesome. So Ambitious Vet, go get that done. And you'll probably get addicted like I did with these kind of products, but it's a good addiction, I promise you. Evan, I just want to go back over to you, man, and just thank you for joining the show. Thanks for being a guy that got out of, the uniform, didn't stop serving, getting out there and went back to St. Louis, Missouri, next to the good old Mississippi River, made a big impact, didn't settle, continued to grow, and now is building a very successful startup company, man. Thanks for coming to share your story.
Thanks, Chris. Really appreciate you having me on, man.
The Ambitious Vet is available on all popular podcast platforms. Go to vettrainingcoaching.com to subscribe, rate, and share with fellow vets.
Ambitious Vet, before you go, make sure you go check out the Ambitious Vet Network Facebook group that's been around since 2017, where you can go and connect, learn, and grow with other like-minded veterans that are looking to just reach their full potential post-military and get whatever's in the way out of the way to make sure that happens, right? One thing that I've learned from the very beginning of getting out of the military to now being 10 years into continuous, never-ending transitions in life is that it's good to be growing through trials and tribulations with the community that I originally went through all those trials and tribulations with, right? Like going through military level boot camp, combat, stuff like that, right? So if you're looking to thrive in your life post-military, go check out the Ambitious Vet Network free Facebook group, and there you're going to get all the upcoming updates of what's rolling out inside the Ambitious Vet Network. More importantly, see who else is listening to this show so you can network and grow in your life right now.